Hi everyone, I am Alex Flores, and today we're gonna have a special guest from, I think, New York or Boston, somewhere around there. Anyways, his name is Bongohead, and he's gonna be playing at La Rumba Nueva anniversary. So I believe it's the first anniversary of La Rumba Nueva. La Rumba Nueva is this place where you go in and dance without a stop, all rumba. From Colombia, from Cuba, from Mexico, from all that good rumba that comes from all those countries that we are from. So anyways, he's coming to play on Friday 17, tomorrow, Friday 17, at 10 o'clock. It starts, $10 all night. And this is in Yuca's Lounge, right half block north of Bloor. Bongohead is gonna be here with us because he also is an author and a writer, and he's been like working for years, and the whole musical Latin and funk and jazz and punk. He is the author and curator of Cocinando's book, 50 years of Latin album cover art. I will be right back with him in a moment. Hi everyone, like I promised, Pablo Iglesias is here, DJ Bongohead. That's what I call him actually, because we're gonna be knowing his work as a DJ and also as an author and a writer. And how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We're pretty excited.
I'm excited too.
So you originally from Boston, and then you've been pretty much a lot in New York and now Toronto. And so what is that coming from? Those beats, those like rumba beats and salsa beats, where are they coming from?
In terms of where are the roots of the music? From Africa and
No,
Spain.
in terms of how did you got into it?
How did I get into it? Growing up, my parents listened to that music. My father's from Cuba, and my mother's American, but she always loved Latin music. So we'd hear it a lot in the home or on the radio. We were in Puerto Rico and Mexico when I was a kid too. So I absorbed it from the environment that I grew up in, I would say. And then in the 80s, some interesting, more innovative new sounds started happening, as far as I was concerned. So I started getting into Ruben Blades and some of the rock and stuff coming from Spain, and I'd been in Spain, so my ears were open to other kinds of Latin sounds at that point. I also was staying with somebody that had a lot of Colombian and Venezuelan salsa records when I was in New York one time as a teenager. And that kind of blew my mind because it's a totally different take on what I knew as, New York and Puerto Rican sound. So from there, I was interested in all kinds of music at the same time, of course. But from there, my interest in Latin music kind of grew as the music itself grew and changed, So I kind of got into that beat digging thing when I was in New York. And there was a lot of records to be had for very cheap, in the flea markets and stuff at that time, because people hadn't really gotten into it and stumbled on it. And I was DJing then at a couple places in New York, playing boogaloo and salsa and funk and the roots of sampling, kind of, the actual music and not the...
Well, people were looking for that music.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with that music. When I go to La Rumba Buena, that's why I go, because
Right. Connects.
I grew up in like this vecindario, this neighborhood where you close the door of a building or you block the streets, and there you go, which is...
Block party. Yeah, we used to have that in Boston in the South End. So.
And for people like, when did you start DJing? Like this is like a music that now everyone dances.
Right.
Everyone, like it has no gender, it has no racist classification, nothing. Everyone dances. And when, how many years ago you decided to be a DJ in this?
Well, I never decided. I just always loved music and liked picking it and playing it for people because that's what my dad did in an informal way. I mean, being on the radio or being at a party, he always had records and he'd play records for people. So I started doing that in high school, I guess you'd say. late 70s, early 80s with 2 cassette decks. You know, I had the records, I taped different songs, put them on the 2 cassettes, and played them like that, because I didn't have a mixer or anything like that. And that was the new wave, punk new wave era, you know.
Those
so
cassettes, those like 8 cassettes, like the track 8, like they were like...
Oh, no, 8-track? No,
8-track,
a little earlier. I remember those.
Yeah, I remember those too.
In my dad's car, he had an 8-track cartridge player.
Right.
Those were big, and you had to turn them over.
Yes.
Sometimes they'd end in the middle of a song. But I'm talking more about the cassettes, the small cassettes.
Right.
So I first started DJing with that because, I mean, I didn't know about mixers or anything, because those were mostly in radio stations. And then obviously what was happening in New York with sort of technological wizards, you know, that were making their own mixers and putting the 2 turntables together in the Bronx. But I didn't have any brain for that, so I just had 2 cassette decks and play them at parties.
So now I read about this book, Cocinando, which I find absolutely stunning. My mother has all these records with Celia Cruz and La Sonora Santanera and Sergio Gonzalez. So what was the interest of that? Like you saw all these LPs, or what is it? Yeah.
Sure. Álbumes or LPs, LD, larga duración. That a lot of those records that I put in the book were records that my dad brought with him from Cuba. He used to say, now I don't know how true this is, but what he said was the only thing that he brought with him from Cuba when he left in his maleta was his discos. So I would look at those covers when I was a kid, and I'd try to think back to what it must have been like for them, you know, in Cuba before the revolution, and it was a place that I never knew. You know, I went as an adult, but as a kid I had no idea really what it was like. So all I had was these records, and I saw in the 80s and 90s, I saw these books dedicated to jazz album cover art, to the art of rock, you know, all these big budget books, and, you know, typical kind of thing where the Latin thing, just no one had thought to do it, no one was doing it. But there was a book company called the Princeton Architectural Press that had a book about the evolution of the long play, the LP album cover, the 12-inch album cover. The design of it was really engineered by one guy, and he worked for Columbia Records, Alex Steinweiss. So I saw their book on Alex Steinweiss's album covers, and some of them had some early Latin covers that he had done, like from the era of 78s and early LPs, and I thought, I'll approach these guys, and I want to do it the same nice little size that they had. And so they were like, wow, that's great. And I wanted to include Brazilian music in it because, to me, I mean, that's all Latin America, you know what I mean? And in the realm of like some salsa musicians of the type of Willie Colon, I mean, they love Brazilian music too. So I figured, let's have a chapter on Brazil, and let's start with the old records of my parents and do an evolution of how the depiction of Latin culture through the album cover morphed and changed over the years, especially once in New York anyway. The people who were producing and designing the albums started to be more Latin. Because if you started in the 40s and 50s with big companies like RCA or Columbia, it's all gringos that are running the show, you know. So they might hire, you know, your Tito Puente and your Paris Prado, but they're going to hire a Madison Avenue advertising agency to do the album cover, and it'll be like a lady dancing and a guy with his shirt off playing drums. And they're trying to sell that aspect of the exotic, the wild Latin, the Latin lover, all these cliched notions. But then by the time you get in the 70s with Fania and Izzy Sanabria and these other designers that were either Latinos themselves or really had grown up with the music and understood it, they started trying to say something with the album covers that was more than just sex sells. You know, it was something maybe about cultural pride or injustices or African roots or you know, the balance between home and away and what the immigrant experience was like, or crime or notions of cliched notions, making fun of and turning it on its head of what a bad Latino would be, you know, with the Cologne album covers, let's say, or a really positive sort of pride, orgullo kind of thing with Ray Barretto's Power covers. All these covers were about the power of the drum and the African roots and you know, this whole kind of like superhero. Why, if you got white superheroes, why can't you have Latino superheroes? And why can't we have a Superman who's a conga player?
Right. Your book is amazing. I mean, the fact that you have all these, covers and make a very nice and beautiful graphic design and everything is right here. You guys seeing it right here. The website to purchase the book is right here too. So go to his website because it's impressive. You have mixes there too, like records and like.
Well, I have a record label,
right?
Where I'm producing contemporary music. On Radio Gladys Palmera, I have some like, you know, mixes, some sesiones they call them, but basically like podcasts of different kinds of music with different themes.
And you have a story here, which is amazing. Look at Oscar de Leon was very sexy there, very athletic. I wonder how long it lasts, the athletics. You know, he was one of those in the 80s who really make us move.
Yeah.
Anyways, this book is absolutely stunning. Cocinando. Again, the link is right here for him. From him, for you to purchase this book is, you know, for people that actually we don't have this kind of material, it's an amazing to collect it. So, anyways, we're very excited with DJ Bongohead, Pablo Iglesias. He's gonna be playing tomorrow at La Rumba Nueva at 10 o'clock and 7555. All the information, all that stuff, again, is right here. And Pablo, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Alex. I'm super excited, and I love talking to you about this. And hopefully we'll be seeing people both tomorrow and then the next night when I do.
Hopefully you're gonna have a line. Believe me, the Rumba Nueva has become like the cliche people that will go in and dance until, and then we don't let them go. Like the DJ don't stop until 4 in the morning sometimes.
Yeah, well that's the way the shows that I do in New York are like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and it's all vinyl. That's the other really fun thing for me is the object, the sort of physicality of it. Picking the records, playing them. You know, like to me, this is one of my compilations that I did of Colombian music, and so I'm all about, you know, the experience of vinyl, where you get to have, you know, these big
yeah, that was it.
big sized inserts, and you get to play with the records. You know, they have some weight to them.
Yes, it feels right.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, so you probably have how many bags traveling with?
Well, that was interesting when I was going over the border.
Right.
I had to explain that it was vinyl records. That's why my bag was so heavy.
Right. Anyways, so guys, women, men, everyone, bring your parents as much as you want because they will have a great time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All ages and all races, all genders, all fun. That's what it's all
That's
about.
what it is. And very soon Yucca Place has to get a bigger place because really we don't fit. It's way too many people and we bump each other, and which is sometimes have to be very tight, but we all have big family. Thank you and see you next time.
Ciao.